Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates the Bocha Sanwasi Akshar Purushottam's Swaminarayan Sanstha temple in Abu Dhabi. The temple carries the message of harmony, love and tolerance for the world. Prime Minister Modi tells World Government Summit that the world needs inclusive and corruption-free governments, highlights the mantra of minimum government, maximum governance. Pakistan's main political parties agree to form a coalition government under Shahbaz Sharif. The PMLN and PPP together have a simple majority. Indonesia's Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto declares victory in the presidential election. He is succeeding Joko Widodo, whose second and last term has ended. And India take on England in the third test, the cricket test in Rajkot from February 15. The 5-match series is tied 1-1. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday inaugurated the first and the historic Bocha Sanwasi Akshar Purushottam Swaminarayan Sanstha or BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. The inauguration coincided with the auspicious occasion of the Basant Panchami and the 159th birth anniversary of Shastriji Maharaj, the founder of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. Upon his arrival, Prime Minister Modi was welcomed by BAPS's Ishwar Charandas Swami. The BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi, it serves as a landmark achievement, symbolizing cultural exchange and mutual respect between India and the UAE. PM Modi performed rituals as part of the inauguration of the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi. And the Prime Minister was greeted by saints as he arrived at the main entrance of the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi. And this is a historic moment because PM Modi inaugurated the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi and he offered prayers at the temple after the inauguration. The Prime Minister performed an aarti at the temple as it was performed at all the BAPS Hindu temples across the world at the same time. Prime Minister also took a tour of the temple site in Abu Dhabi, accompanied by a priest, witnessing the stunning architectural marvel, which is the Abu Dhabi temple, the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. The Bocha Sanwasi Akshar Purushottam Swaminarayan Sanstha temple. And later, the Prime Minister offered water on the idol of Maharaj Swaminarayan at the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi. Prime Minister Modi inscribed the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam on a stone at the temple in Abu Dhabi. Addressing the Indian community at the inauguration of the BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi, Prime Minister Modi said that the UAE has written a golden chapter. The inauguration of the temple comes after years of hard work and it fulfills the dreams of many.
यूनाइटेड अरब अमीरात की धरती ने मानवीय इतिहास का एक नया स्वर्णिम अध्याय लिखा है। आज अबू धाबी में भव्य और दिव्य मंदिर का लोकार्पण हो रहा है। ये मंदिर पूरी दुनिया के लिए सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द और वैश्विक एकता का प्रतीक बनेगा।
Prime Minister Modi also said that the BAPS Hindu temple embraces the message of love, spirituality, non-violence, tolerance and global brotherhood. Stories from the Vedic times and the mythological period are carved on the walls of the temple. The Prime Minister also mentioned about the temple's display, how it displays unity in diversity.
हमें विविधता में बैर नहीं दिखता, हमें विविधता ही विशेषता लगती है। आज वैश्विक संघर्षों और चुनौतियों के सामने ये विचार हमें एक विश्वास देता है, मानवता में हमारे विश्वास को मजबूत करता है। इस मंदिर में आपको पग पग पर विविधता में विश्वास की ये झलक दिखेगी। मंदिर की दीवारों पर हिंदू धर्म के साथ साथ इजिप्ट की हायरोग्लिफ और बाइबल की, कुरान की कहानियां भी उकेरी गई है।
The inauguration of the BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi was attended by UAE's Minister of Tolerance and Coexistence, Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan. And he praised Prime Minister Modi and said that it was an honor to have received him in their country. And he said that the countries would work together now and strengthen the great relations that they share.
On this blessed occasion of inaugurating this impressive temple, we recall your stirring words when you describe the philosophy of your government, together with all, progress for all. We also express our great confidence that your visit and your presence here this evening bode well for a future of mutual understanding, cooperation, peaceful pursuit, and joint ventures between our two countries.
After concluding his two-day visit to the UAE, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Qatar. Qatar has released 8 former Indian naval officers previously sentenced to death, aimed at discussing ways to further strengthen overall ties. Prime Minister Modi will hold a bilateral meeting with Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad, the Emir of Qatar, and key dignitaries in Qatar. This will be PM Modi's second visit to Qatar. The strong bilateral trade between India and Qatar currently stands at $20 billion. Prime Minister Modi's Dubai visit also saw him giving a clarion call for reform of global institutions, along with stressing on the need to create global prototypes for emerging challenges like artificial intelligence and crypto. And this was part of the Prime Minister's keynote address at the World Government Summit in Dubai. Let's listen.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the World Government Summit in UAE's Dubai on Wednesday. This year's theme is Shaping Future Governments. The Indian Prime Minister highlighted his beliefs of an ideal government and expressed how governments which are inclusive, take everyone along, are clean and free from corruption.
आज विश्व को आवश्यकता है ऐसी सरकारों की जो ईज ऑफ लिविंग, ईज ऑफ जस्टिस, ईज ऑफ मोबिलिटी, ईज ऑफ इनोवेशन और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को अपनी प्राथमिकता बनाकर चले.
Throwing light on the support and trust of Indians on the Indian government, Prime Minister Modi mentioned that India has seen transformation in every sector and people's trust in the government has increased.
बीते वर्षों में भारत सरकार पर देश के लोगों का भरोसा और मजबूत हुआ है। लोगों को हमारी सरकार के इंटेंट और कमिटमेंट दोनों पर पूरा भरोसा है। ये कैसे हुआ? क्योंकि हमने गवर्नेंस में जन भावनाओं को प्राथमिकता दी है। हम देशवासियों की जरूरत के प्रति संवेदनशील है।
India's Prime Minister also pressed on the fact that the global south must be heard. He also emphasized on the need to share resources and technologies like AI and added that keeping national sovereignty in mind, international law must be respected.
हमें ग्लोबल साउथ की आवाज सुननी होगी, उनकी प्राथमिकताओं को सामने लाना होगा। हमें जरूरतमंद देशों के साथ अपने रिसोर्सेज और अपनी कैपेबिलिटीज को शेयर करना होगा। हमें एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और क्रिप्टो करेंसी, साइबर क्राइम ऐसे पैदा हो रही चुनौतियों के लिए ग्लोबल प्रोटोकॉल बनाने होंगे। हमें अपनी नेशनल सॉवरेनिटी को प्राथमिकता देते हुए इंटरनेशनल लॉ की मर्यादा भी रखनी होगी।
Earlier in the day, deepening India's economic linkages with the UAE and the world, the Indian Prime Minister, along with Vice President and Prime Minister of UAE, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, virtually laid the foundation stone for Bharat Mart in Jebel Ali. On the sidelines of the World Government Summit, Prime Minister held bilateral meetings with Madagascar President, an important partner of India's Saga vision. As per a social media post by the Indian Prime Minister, ways to boost trade and cultural linkages were discussed between the two nations. India's Prime Minister also met with the Prime Minister of UAE, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come here on DD India Live. In a surprise move, Nawaz Sharif nominates brother Shahbaz Sharif as Pakistan's prime ministerial candidate. Polling for the presidential and legislative elections in Indonesia come to an end. In fact, a victor has been announced. Military spending hits record high among NATO countries.
India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. My name is Mark Lin. Now, Pakistan's Muslim League Nawaz has nominated its President Shahbaz Sharif as the prime ministerial candidate of Pakistan instead of the party chief and three-time former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Taking to X, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz spokesperson Maryam Aurangzeb said that the PMLN chief Nawaz Sharif, who's 74, has nominated his younger brother Shahbaz Sharif, who's 72, as the candidate for the Prime Minister's post. His daughter, Maryam Nawaz, who's 50 years of age, is the party nominee for the Chief Minister's post of Punjab province.
Pakistan is a polity pulling in different directions held together by the glue of convenience, not quite connivance. A coalition of PMLN and PPP with Shahbaz Sharif as a candidate for Prime Minister.
Now, when the parliament is about to come into existence, our war will be against the challenges facing this country. The first and number one challenge is to make our economy stand on its feet. This challenge itself is like a Himalaya.
However, the co-chairman of the PPP, former President Asif Ali Zardari, expects former Premier Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf to be part of the reconciliation process. Could this be because his party has just 54 seats in the House and is hoping to piggyback on the collective strength of PTI-affiliated independents? Or could all parties be looking at a democratic revival through olive branch politics?
Reconciliation.
We have to do reconciliation, and PTI is part of this reconciliation. We don't want that PTI is not part of this reconciliation. Every political force should be part of reconciliation.
The elections have raised more questions than answers. Supporters of Imran Khan believe the system was rigged from the start. Surely their votes could count for something. They voted for a candidate who wasn't even allowed to contest. What does that say of a free and fair system?
No, I'm not the only one who is disappointed. The entire nation is dismayed. Everyone is upset and everyone is feeling let down because all the agencies and other government people started hounding the person that the entire nation has selected. Imran Khan is the only one who can make this nation better. No one else can do it.
The caretaker government, which presided over the elections, is convinced that it did its job without fear or favor. This despite major world powers doubting the veracity of the poll process.
If we have to investigate, if we have to inquire, we will not that do on the demand of either United States or United Kingdom or EU. We have got our own procedures. We are a sovereign country. We have got our own laws.
All said and done, Shehbaz Sharif has the backing of his brother, former Premier Nawaz Sharif. Together, the PMLN and PPP account for 134 seats, a simple majority in the 264-seat legislature. Their coalition would also apply across the provinces, with Nawaz's daughter Maryam likely to be Chief Minister of the influential Punjab province. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Indonesian Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto has declared victory in a presidential election on Wednesday after unofficial vote counts showed him with a huge lead among his opponents and on course for a single-round win. Crucially, Prabowo had the tacit backing of the outgoing President Joko Widodo in the elections. Meanwhile, the presidential contender Anies Baswedan said that he would respect the final election result, but called on his supporters to monitor the official tally of votes by the Election Commission. Millions of people cast their ballots in the country's presidential, national and provincial elections on Wednesday. However, heavy rains and flooding forced the election authority to delay polls in Demak Regency, which is in central Java. This is according to the Jakarta Post. Now, North Korea on Wednesday fired multiple cruise missiles off the eastern coastal city of Wonsan. South Korea's military said that the missiles were launched in the early hours of the morning. Meanwhile, the US has suspected, and in fact they have supported Japan's efforts to hold talks with North Korea, and they hope any dialogue would seek to resolve issues ranging from regional security to human rights. In Myanmar, the nation's ruling junta, the military, they've called up retired security personnel to return to work. This comes as the army struggles to crush an anti-junta emergency, a sort of an insurgency in Myanmar. The Southeast Asian nation has been in turmoil since the military seized power from an elected government in a 2021 coup, and plans by the junta to call up more people to fight this points in the direction of the military being under pressure.
This law is literally regarding to the return of retired security personnel. The former members of the security forces who retired within 5 years, counting from your retirement dates, are responsible to return to the service in the army. Among the eligible number, only necessary people need to serve back the army.
Several missile strikes hit a hospital in eastern Ukraine. According to the Ukrainian officials, several missile attacks on the town of Selidov in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region had damaged a hospital and destroyed dozens of residential flats and injured several people. Donetsk's governor, Vadim Filakshkin, said on social media that 100 patients were evacuated to hospitals in nearby towns, while another strike destroyed several apartments and injured at least 4 people, including 2 children. Overall military spending has hit another record among NATO countries, that is, as 18 out of 31 countries will hit the target of 2% of defense spending of their gross domestic product in 2024. While speaking at a news conference in Brussels, the NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said on Wednesday that the European states would invest a combined total of $380 billion in defense this year. The new figures come days after the former US President Donald Trump shocked Europeans by suggesting that the US might not protect NATO allies who are not spending enough on defense as Russia-Ukraine conflict continues.
This year, I expect 18 allies to spend 2% of their GDP on defense. That is another record number. In 2024, NATO allies in Europe will invest a combined total of $380 billion in defense. For the first time, this amounts to 2% of their combined GDP. So we are making real progress.
More news now from around the world. A German was detained on arrival in the Russian city of St. Petersburg with gummy candies containing cannabis. The 38-year-old arrived in St. Petersburg from Istanbul, and on inspection of his luggage, he was found to have a pack of Fink green gold bears. The Netherlands is slated to join a military coalition with allies, including Britain, that will supply Ukraine with advanced drone technology and bolster its offensive capabilities in the war against Russia. As a global fintech leader, India leads in terms of all real-time payments made worldwide. And with the launch of UPI transactions in Sri Lanka and Mauritius by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it is hoped that this would revolutionize the digital transactions in these countries as well. Sri Lanka has been a preferred destination among Indian tourists, with over 3 lakh Indians visiting the island nation. That's 300,000 Indians visiting the nation. And presence of UPI will not only help them in their transactions in Indian rupees, but it's going to make the hassle-free by removing the need to convert money to hard currency. Ahmed Muin Faruqi reports.
With the launch of Unified Payments Interface in Sri Lanka and its linkage with Lanka Pay or Lanka QR, the Indian tourists would directly be allowed to use UPI in Sri Lanka, just like they have been using it in India. Indian nationals would now be allowed to make payments in Indian rupees on UPI-enabled apps, which will directly get credited into the merchant establishment accounts in Lankan rupees. Let's have a feel of the payment experience in one of these shops. So I am inside one of these shops and I will be using my Bheem app. We have a UPI branding that has been placed here that shows that the Lanka QR will accept UPI payments as well. The money has been sent. So I'm right now at one of the most hustling and bustling places in Colombo, the Colombo Business District. We will have a look at how UPI can be used for making transactions here as well. So I'm in one of these merchant establishments who are accepting UPI payments. Again, I'll be trying my Bheem app and making a small transaction.
And we are going across live once again to the UAE, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be boarding the plane. He's planning to move to Qatar. In Qatar, the Prime Minister will be Going to Qatar now, directly from the UAE. This is the second leg of his visit. He will start in Qatar. His visit, in fact, comes just in the recent past that there were 8 former Indian naval personnel who were released. In fact, they were on death row at one point of time, and it is through the astute leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that this has come about. The Prime Minister will also be meeting Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, and they'll hold wide-ranging talks on expanding bilateral ties. Prime Minister has concluded a successful 2-day visit to the UAE, where he visited both Dubai and Abu Dhabi. In Dubai, he had addressed the World Government Summit, and where a lot was appreciated about the Indian model of governance, which is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, or with all for the development of all. Also, the Prime Minister had spoken about the mantra of minimum government but maximum governance. This is the model that the Prime Minister has been using or has inspired over the last 10 years. Apart from that, of course, just a little while earlier, the Prime Minister had inaugurated the BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. It was a historic moment indeed, because it is the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi, and it is a temple which has been constructed on land that was granted by the Emir. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks very much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.